written by Srila Sanatana Goswami, and it is the account of a very faithful and wonderful devotee by the name of Gopa Kumar and his gradual progression in spiritual life to where he was able to leave behind the material world and enter the spiritual world. And moving through successive dimensions, he eventually was able to attain Krishna. Sri Gopa Kumar said, following Narada's instructions, in a sweet voice I chanted Lord Krishna's dear holy names, and I sang of and meditated on his pastimes. When I saw the places of the Lord's pastimes, my heart became filled with love, and my body displayed the symptoms of ecstasy. In my heart, I am embarrassed. How can I tell this to others? Tormented I passed my days and nights, pitiably crying in pain. Soon I did not know whether I was filled with bliss or drowning in an ocean of pain. I did not know whether I was in the flames of a forest fire or in the cooling nectarine waters of Sri Jamuna. Sometimes I thought I must have fallen into the hands of a demon. I was always drowning in an ocean of pain. Even the slightest fragrance of happiness would not touch me. And thus I lived in this grove, that decorated Vrindavan forest. One day, as I was drowning in an ocean of weeping, I fainted. Then I met the crown jewel of all merciful persons. With a hand holding a flute, he wiped the dust from my limbs. Again and again, this most wise person playfully shook me. He flooded my nostrils with his unprecedented sweet fragrance. I reverently gazed at his lotus feet. I quickly got up, my heart filled with joy. I tried to touch his exquisite yellow garment, making playful melodies on his flute. That best of heroes moved behind me and then fled into the forest. I ran after him, but I could not catch him. He disappeared. Not seeing him, I fainted and fell into the current of the Jamuna. As I was carried along, I became unconscious, and then I opened my eyes. I saw that carried by a vehicle rising faster than the mind and traveling along a very wonderful path, I had arrived at a very splendid and flawless place. Collecting my thoughts, I happily saw Vaikuntha-loka, within which was Ayodhya and many other places, and I became filled with wonder. Then carried along, I left them all behind. Then I came to effulgent Goloka, which was above all of the worlds, and which I had long desired. Here was the circle of Mathura. Everything was as it had been on the earth. In the circle of Mathura, I went to Mathura city. Gazing at it, I became filled with joy and wonder. There I heard that imprisoning Devaki, Vasudeva, and his own father, Kamsa, had usurped the kingdom. Afraid of the demons, the Yadavas could not be happy or act as they wished. They found themselves troubled by Kamsa day and night. Some fled, and some took shelter of him. Being afraid of him, I left. I bathed in Vishranti Tirtha, and quickly went to beautiful Vrindavan. There in Goloka, which the demigods, the kings of the planets, and their associates could not approach, seeing a country glorious as the sunrise, where there were always the customs and human language of Bharat Varsa, Aryavrata, I became filled with wonder, and I plunged in an ocean of bliss. In a moment I saw cowherd men going here and there, and elderly gopis picking flowers, Everyone there was extraordinary, different from any people I had seen before. It seemed that someone had stolen the treasure of their hearts. Simply by seeing them, I became like them. Carefully composing myself, I approached them and asked some of them this question. Served by great bliss beyond that of the great Paramahamsas, O people to whom the loving devotees of the goddess of fortune's husband pray for mercy, please look with kindness on this poor person come to you for shelter. Tell him, who is the king of this place? Where is his palace? And by what path does one go to him? O fortunate ones, please be kind to me, who with plaintive words asks, O saintly ones, please give me a sign in answer. Sanatana Goswami explains that they did not answer Gopa Kumar's questions. He thinks they may be observing a vow of silence, so he asks them that they reply with a gesture of their hands. Please, hear the words of troubled me. You must be overcome with love for that charming person. Again and again, with plaintive words asking everyone I saw, I went to the different places in Vraja, moving my eyes in all directions. Far away, I saw a palace filled with great sweetness. On that side and also everywhere, I heard the beautiful singing of gopis, the sounds of them churning yogurt, and the tinkling of their ornaments. Suppressing the bliss I felt in my heart, I approached an elderly man who was emotionally singing, Krishna, Krishna, and crying. I carefully listened to the broken words he spoke, simply by hearing the words. This is the palace of Krishna's father, the Gopi king Nanda. I fainted, overcome with happiness. In a moment, brought to consciousness by the kind elderly man, I ran ahead and came to the palace gate. There I saw millions and millions of wonders, never seen, heard of, or imagined by anyone. O best of the Brahmanas, I could not understand whether all the people were filled with bliss or overcome with sorrow. Whether I heard the gopis' songs, I did not know whether they cried in the greatest happiness or the greatest sorrow. As I looked at this place, which I had ascended higher and higher to reach, I thought, I am in the material world. Then I understood. I am above all material and spiritual worlds. I am above the material and spiritual worlds. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the word Loka here means the 14 material worlds, and the words Aloka and Atiloka mean what is beyond the 14 material worlds. An elderly lady came. I bowed down before her, and with sweet words asked, where does the son of Nanda enjoy pastimes today? Sanatana Goswami reminds us that this conversation was at the entrance to Nanda's palace. The elderly lady said, he who gives life to us people of Vraja, in the morning went to the forest with his cows, friends, and elder brother to enjoy pastimes. Now, in the evening, he will return. Their eyes fixed on the path, all of the people of Vraja now stand by the Jamuna's shore, with the trees eager to see him, stretching their leaves and branches high. He will come by this path. Sri Gopa Kumar said, it was as if I was suddenly bathed with great streams of nectar. With a single glance, I saw the path that she showed. I was stunned with bliss. My legs could no longer move. With a great effort from far away, I could hear the sound of cows mooing and playful, sweet flute melodies filled with many charming waves of sound that enchanted the people of Vraja and made the trees shed tears that were a great flood of nectar. It made the people of Vraja shed streams of tears from their eyes. It made milk flow from the breasts of the elderly women and made the swiftly moving Jamuna become motionless. Whether this flute flows with poison or nectar, I do not know. Whether this sound is harder than a thunderbolt or softer than nectar, I do not know. Whether it is hotter than fire or cooler than the moon, I do not know. Because of it, everyone in Vraja has become mad. Now they have fainted unconscious. When I saw some of the women of Vraja coming from the palace, carrying in their hands articles for offering arati, others carried on their heads ornaments and delicious foods. Sri Sanatana Goswami explains that in their hands they carried lamps and other things, and on their heads they carried garlands, ointments, fresh butter, sweet rice, and other things. As they hastily and confusedly ran in the direction of the cows mooing and the flute's music, some of the women stumbled and fell. Some put their ornaments in the wrong places. Some had forgotten to tie their belts and hair. Some, stunned as trees, stayed in their homes, and some fainted and fell to the ground. Some, their faces wet with tears, had fainted and were being carried by their friends. Others, overcome with love, came there and said to their friends, "Look, it is he," continually singing his names and pastimes, decorated with wonderful beauty and colorful garments, and their good fortune robbing goddess Lakshmi of her pride in being fortunate. They ran to the Jamuna's shore as if pulled by someone. I ran behind. Then, from far away, I saw him. His hand was glorious with the sweet flute. He quickly ran from his friends and cows and said, "Sri Dama, now I have found my friend Sarupa, who is a brilliant sun shining on the lotus flower of your family," and gracefully continued walking. He was decorated with forest ornaments, a moving kadamba garland, and a peacock feather turban. His fragrance filled the directions. His blossoming lotus face was handsome with a playful smile. His lotus eyes glistened with merciful glances. His only real ornament was his own wonderful handsomeness. The fingers of his lotus hand pushed back the moving locks of his hair, decorated with dust raised by the cows. To beautify the surface of the earth, he touched it with his soft lotus feet as he danced gracefully. Splendid with the sweetness of youth, his handsomeness made all of the directions glorious. The ocean of his own glories charmed the hearts of his eternal dear friends there. Controlled by the love of his helpless devotees, he ran to me. I fainted with love by seeing him. He embraced my neck and then suddenly fell to the ground. In a moment, I became conscious. I carefully freed my neck from his embrace. I saw him fallen on the ground, unconscious and covered with dust, and muddying the path. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the Lord was muddying the ground with streams of tears. The gopis came there and said, "Who has come here? What has he done to the goal of our lives? Alas, now we people of Vraja are all dead," crying and lamenting in many ways, and saying, "Perhaps he is a servant of the magician Kamsa." They gathered around Krishna. The gopis quickly came. Seeing the situation, they cried pitifully. Hearing the sounds of crying, the people of Vraja, Nanda and the Gopa men, Yashoda, who dearly loved her son, and other women and the maidservants, fainting and stumbling as they came, all ran there crying out, "Alas! Alas!" Then the cows, the bulls, calves, the black deer, and other animals all came there, and seeing what had happened to Krishna, they cried in agony. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the animals all considered Krishna the Lord of their life, gently making sounds of love, their faces bathed with tears, approaching him again and again and smelling him. They licked him again and again. Crying as they flew in the sky above, many grieving birds made a great sound, their hearts filled with pain. The unmoving trees and plants suddenly became withered and dry. How can I say it in words? All moving and unmoving beings became as if they were dead. Tormented, drowning in an ocean of sorrow, confused about what I had done, placing my head at his feet and crying, I lamented again and again. Handsome Balarama, whose fair complexion was decorated with blue garments, who was dressed and decorated as his younger brother was, and who was only slightly older than he, with great fear quickly came from far away. Sanatana Goswami explains that Lord Balarama's complexion is the color of a white lotus flower. Balarama, the leader of the wise, cried at first, but then he became peaceful at heart. He looked about. He took my arms and carefully placed them around the neck of his younger brother. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that Lord Balarama looked about to find the cause of his brother's fainting. He made my hands stroke Krishna's handsome limbs. He made me call out to him with wonderfully sweet words. He made me lift him from the ground. At once he opened the charming lotus eyes that had been sealed by streams of tears. Seeing me, he happily embraced and kissed me. But then, looking around, he became embarrassed. Having attained me, a friend more dear than life, he had not seen for a long time, taking my hand in his left lotus hand, asking me wonderful questions, bringing happiness to all the people of Vraja, and walking as gracefully as an elephant. The handsome Lord entered the village of Vraja. Srila Sanatana Goswami gives examples of Krishna's questions as, "Oh dear friend, are you well? Are you happy?" Unhappy in his absence, unable to go anywhere without him, and hoping to see the Lord in the morning, the forest deer passed the night at the entrance to Vraja village. Again and again flying over Vraja, the birds gazed at Krishna, unable to see him at night, weeping and crying out. They left. At the insistence of Nanda, who was full of love for his sons, the two brothers did not stay to talk to the cows after they were milked, but went directly home. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that Nanda said, "Son, You must be tired from wandering in the forest. Go home with your older brother. Bathe and perform your other duties. I shall stay and talk to the cows. Don't delay. Your mother is lamenting. She will rebuke me. Please honor the promise I made to her. Go home at once. Their limbs and garments bathed in the streams flowing out of love from their eyes and the breasts. Again and again, Yashoda and Rohini offered arti to each limb of the two boys. With her hair, she offers arti to her son. She embraces him and lovingly kisses him. Will she hold his head to her breasts or to her waist? Filled with love, he brought me to his mother and made me bow down before her. Seeing that her son loved me, she was as affectionate to me as she was to him. Hearing these pleasant words, the Gopis said, O Sri Yashoda, Queen of Vraja, O Queen Rohini, you need not do this. We will do this duty. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the duty here is the bathing of Krishna and Balarama. You two quickly prepare their meals. We will nicely bathe them at once. Sri Yashoda said, Girls, quickly bathe the older boy first and send him to fetch Nanda so that he may also eat. Sri Sarupa said, praising Mother Yashoda's pleasing words, some gopis quickly bathed Balaram and sent him to get Nanda. As Yashoda and Rohini went to the kitchen, Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that Sarupa is Gopa Kumar's original name in the spiritual world, and from now on he will be identified as Sarupa. One by one, removing Krishna's wonderful ornaments, they scrubbed his limbs with their own washcloths. Alerting me with a signal from far away, he tossed into my open hands the flute, which was like the gopis' rival, for which they begged and which they tried to grab from his lotus hands. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the signal was the Lord's dancing eyebrows. The gopis begged, Give it to me, give it to me. Then they anointed him with excellent oil and carefully and expertly massaged him with the soft touch of their lotus hands. Still, either because he was so very delicate and sensitive, or perhaps out of playfulness, he cried out with a pained expression on his face. Hearing this cry of pain, and at once coming out, she who has placed all her love in her son alone asked, What happened? What happened? Sri Sanatana Goswami explains that Mother Yashoda had just come out from the kitchen. Seeing her son's smiling face, she went back to the kitchen, afraid, smiling, and singing songs. The gopis finished massaging him. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the gopis smiled because they knew that Krishna only pretended to cry in pain, but they were also afraid that Mother Yashoda would again come out from the kitchen. Then, with clear, warm, and fragrant Yamuna water from jeweled jars, they playfully bathed him. Then, with wonderful garlands, scented ointments, garments, and other ornaments, all brought from their own homes according to their own liking, they dressed him as a dancer-actor. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the word Yata Ruchi may also be interpreted as meaning according to Krishna's likings. Then they fed him some food that they had hidden, and then with the offerings that were said to be proper to give again and again, offering arti to him, they placed the offerings on their heads. Sanatana Goswami explains that the gopis may have themselves brought the hidden food out of love for Krishna, or the hidden food may have been arranged by Mother Yashoda's own desire. The arti offered included camphor and a lamp. With paste of excellent sandalwood, kumkum, and musk, they drew wonderful pictures with the designs on his neck, forehead, and cheeks, and other places also. As he lovingly gazed at them, they carefully steadied him with their hands to decorate his eyes with black kajal. Sanatana Goswami explains that because Krishna's loving glances made their hands tremble, they could not do a very good job of decorating his eyes. Again and again he spoke with them about the happiness of their pastimes in the forest. He said many wonderful joking words, and he pleased them.